Okay, guys, we finished the Lesson 51 workbook part, so you should have both the lesson part and the independent part of the workbook finished, and you're going to put the workbook back in the bin. Now, we haven't really talked about the textbook, so there is a textbook that goes along with our CMC lessons. We don't use it very often, but I have the online copy on here, so I want you to practice a little bit, because one area that we struggled with a little on the mastery test was the word problems. Okay, so here's what the textbook looks like. So what you're going to need in front of you is a pencil and a piece of paper with your name on it. Okay, so there is no workbook that goes along with this, so you just need a plain piece of paper. If you need that, you can get that off of the counter, but you will need to have your name on it because you're going to be turning it in. All right, we're going to try to work through some of these word problems together. So let's try part 1A. So on your paper, they actually have like an example of what your paper should look like. You should put part 1 or P1 and then A. So I know which problem you're working on. Okay? Here's the problem. So as I'm reading it to you, I want you to think in your head, what is happening in the problem? What operation might I be using? Are there any key words that are telling me what operation? The 4 operations, as we know, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. All right, here we go. There are 36 children in the park. 15 of them are boys. How many of them are girls? So the information they gave us is that there are 36 children in the park. So you need to think about that. Is that a part or is that the whole? Okay, if it says there are 36 children in the park, you should be saying in your head that that's the whole amount, the total. Okay, so if you're creating a problem, your total goes at the end of the problem. Okay, so after the equal sign, you should have the 36. 15 of them are boys. How many are girls? So the 2 parts that we're either adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing are the 15 and however many girls we have, which we don't know. So you need to think, to get to that total, am I adding them? Am I adding the boys and girls together? Am I subtracting the boys and girls? Am I dividing the boys and girls? Am I multiplying? Okay, so I want you to think about what operation you would be using there. And then you have a whole and a part. Okay, so you need to figure out, how do I figure out my missing number? Okay, take a minute. If you have to, you can pause. And I want you to solve how many girls are in the park. Okay, you should have probably figured that out by now. If you're finding the total, which we know is 36, that means you're adding. So you should be taking the boys and the girls and adding them together. We only have the 15. We know that if we're missing an addend, what do we have to do with the total and the addend we have? We have to subtract. So you should be taking 36 minus 15. You should have done that on your paper. And what would you have gotten? At this point, you should have had 21. The answer is 21 girls. Okay, so I should see 36 minus 15 equals 21, and the label should be girls. Let's look at B. Remember, when I'm reading, you're thinking about it, visualizing what it looks like in your head. There are 19 hammers and 37 wrenches in a bag. That's weird, by the way. Who has that many hammers or wrenches? But okay. So we're imagining a bag. And inside of the bag, we have 19 hammers and 37 wrenches. How many total tools are there in the bag? If we're finding the total altogether, we should be doing what math operation? We should be adding, okay? So on your paper, I want you to pause the video, and I want you to solve what would 19 hammers plus 37 wrenches be. So pause and solve. What did you get? What did you get? So if you were adding these up, you did the 9 plus 7 first, you would have gotten 16. You would have carried the 1, which would have made the tens place 1 plus 1 plus 3, which is 5. So you should have 56 tools. 56 tools. And the last one. It says there are 254 apples in the store. That's the total number of apples. 149 of those apples are red, and the rest of the apples are green. Okay, so we have red apples, we have green apples. Did it give us the total? You should have gotten that there are 254 apples total in the store. So think about where you're putting that in your math problem. And then it gave you the red apples, which is 149. So I have an add-end and a total. What do you do with an add-end and a total? So pause and solve. All right, you should have taken 254, and you should have subtracted the 149, and you should have got 106. So how many green apples are there? 106 green apples. Okay. On your paper, we're going to do one other thing I would like you to try. I know that we didn't get into like adding and subtracting decimals and things like that quite yet, but I think we can do the estimation part for this. So looking at the screen, you have 5 different objects. You have peanuts, you have a hat, you have a hot dog, you have a book, you have a pen. Underneath, it tells you the price for each of those objects. We are estimating. If you look at the 3 problems, so part 2A and part 2B and part 2C, there is a bolded word that looks darker than the others. What is that word? The word is about. About means to estimate. Okay, so on your paper, I want you to write part 2, and then under it, write the letter A. They have kind of it set up here for you to look at. It says, a woman buys the peanuts and the hat. Looking at the peanuts, $1.87. I want you to round that to the nearest dollar amount. So that means you're looking at the cents. Here's the cents, 87, and you're saying, is 87 cents closer to rounding up $1 or closer to rounding down? Okay, so how much would you, about how much are the peanuts? You should have probably said about $2. You would have rounded the 87 cents up another $1. So about $2. And then she wants to purchase the hat. The hat is right here. It is $9.26. So you're rounding to the nearest dollar. So you're going to look at the cents and say, you're thinking about a number line from 0 to 100 because there are 100 cents in $1. And you're saying, is 26 closer to 0 or closer to 100? Okay? In my mind, 26 is closer to 0. So we would round down and we would keep it at $9. So then about how much did she spend? We said $2 for the peanuts and $9 for the hat. So on your paper, 2 plus 9 or 9 plus 2 should be 11. So she spends about $11. Okay, I'm going to read B to you, and then I want you to pause. I want you to estimate and give me your estimated total. A man buys a book. That's right here. So you're going to estimate the book. And he buys the pen. You're going to estimate the pen, and then you're going to add up the total. So pause right now and tell me the estimated total for a book and a pen. So pause and do part B. Okay, you should have taken the $4.85. That is closer to $5, so you should have rounded that up. And then the pen was $2.70. 70 cents is closer to $1, so you should have rounded that one up. So it should have been $5 for the book, $3 for the pen. 5 plus 3 is 8. Yep, $8. And the man is going to spend about $8. Ooh, this one's a little trickier. You ready? The girl is buying 3 items now. She's going to buy the peanuts, the hot dog, and the pen. I don't know why anyone would need peanuts, hot dog, and a pen, but the girl's going to be buying that. Okay, so pause right now. I want you to add the peanuts, the hot dog, and the pen. Pause. All right, you should have been able to estimate and round those. The peanuts, we already said we would round up to $2. The hot dog is $2.43. Remember, you're thinking of that number line from 0 to 100. 43 is a little closer to 0 than it is 100. So I would probably round that down to $2. So we have 2 for the peanuts, 2 for the hot dog, and we already said the pen was $3. We're rounding that up. So 2 plus 2 plus 3 Should have been 7. And about how much did she spend? $7. I hate to say it, but with inflation right now, those prices going to be a lot higher than that. Okay? All right. That kind of wraps up the textbook part. You're going to see some of the problems like this on upcoming mastery tests if you haven't already. Oops, sorry, there's the bell. And you're definitely going to see some of these word problems. All right, good job today. Make sure that you take that paper with your name on it and turn it into the turn-in bin. And then you are moving on to your next activity in Canvas. Good job today, guys.